asshole for walking out of my dad's birthday dinner after being ambushed by my stepmom. I, 25 female, have always had a complicated relationship with my dad and his wife, my stepmom. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my dad remarried shortly after. His new wife brought 2 kids into the marriage, and they later had 2 more together. So I have 4 half-siblings and 2 step-siblings, all younger than I am. Growing up, I felt like I was always the odd one out. My dad's focus was on his new family, and while I was never outright excluded, I always felt like an afterthought. My mom raised me, and I visited my dad every other weekend, but as I got older, the visits became less frequent. I've made an effort to keep the peace over the years for the sake of my dad. I visit for holidays, and I attend family events, and I try to bond with my half-siblings. But unfortunately, my stepmom and I have never really gotten along. She's always criticizing me, my career, my clothes, even my decision to stay single for now. My dad usually stays out of it, saying that he doesn't want to take sides. That pisses me off so much, even just as much as the keep the peace type shit. Because if by you staying out of it, you are choosing a side. You are choosing a side. You are choosing to support the person that is doing me wrong. You're not bothering to speak up in my defense. You are stating clearly what side you're on. Last week was my dad's 50th birthday, and my stepmom organized a big dinner at a fancy restaurant. I showed up with a gift and was genuinely excited to celebrate with him. Things were fine until dessert was served. Then, my stepmom stood up and said, since we're all here, it's the perfect time to address some issues as a family. Bitch, no, it's not. No, it's not. If you want to have a talk as a family, you organize a meeting. At home, not in a fucking restaurant full of nothing but goddamn strangers. Bitch, are you serious? You're not the asshole. I would have left too, because that's not what the fuck I came here for. Immediately, I felt uneasy. She launched into a speech about how I've been distant and I don't do enough to blend into the family. She brought up things like how I don't call her on Mother's Day or babysit my half-siblings when they need help. She even mentioned that I missed a family barbecue last month. I had already explained that I had to work. Then my dad chimed in. He said he agreed with her and that it was time for me to take more of an effort to be a part of the family. He added that I should apologize to my stepmom for being cold towards her. All of these things are surrounded around her. You don't call me. You're cold towards me. You don't watch your step siblings so that I can have time to myself. This bitch is selfish as fuck. And your dad's an asshole for not saying anything. You do not have to be a free fucking babysitter simply because you're the oldest. Absolutely not. Because that's exactly where this is going. You don't watch the kids when we want you to watch the kids. So we have a problem with you not being a part of the family actively. Get the fuck out of here. I was stunned. This wasn't a birthday dinner. This was an ambush. I asked if anyone else felt this way, and my stepmom's parents, who were also there, chimed in, saying they'd always thought I was too independent and didn't value family enough. You mean the very family that treated OP like an afterthought, the very family that did not be active in her life when she was growing up. This woman has been around at least since OP was like 10 or 11 years old. You wait until she's 25 to tell her you're not an active part of the family after you guys have spent the better part of the last decade and then some proving to her that you don't see her as part of the family. All right, bitch. If anyone ever has a problem with someone being too independent, they need to look within themselves. Why does this person feel like they have to take care of themselves solely alone? Why do they not feel comfortable coming to you if they need to? It's all about the way you treat them is why they're so fucking independent, because they know they cannot count on you. They can't come to you for anything. At this point, I had heard enough. I stood up and said, if this is what you invited me here for, I'm leaving. My dad tried to stop me, saying that I was being dramatic, but I walked out. I went home, turned off my phone, and cried. Since then, my stepmom has been blowing up my phone, calling me selfish and ungrateful. For fucking what? Should I be grateful for the fact that you guys gathered together to sit here and have a smash session? You guys all decided we're going to rain down on OP as hard as we fucking can to make her feel bad so she can do what the fuck we want her to do. And I'm ungrateful for not wanting to sit there and endure it. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. My dad texted me saying that he was disappointed in how I handled things and that I should have stayed to talk it out. Even my mom, who I told about the situation, said I could have stayed to keep the peace. I feel like I was ambushed and humiliated in front of everyone. Am I the asshole for walking out instead of staying and addressing the issues? You're absolutely not the asshole for not staying and listening to people continue to talk about you. There was no issue that you could address that they would have fucking listened to. These people have already made up their mind how they feel about it. Nothing you said that day in that restaurant would have changed anything. It would have just created a bigger problem. You would have been the asshole in the eyes of your family for causing a scene in a restaurant. There's nothing you could have done that would have made you come out on top in this situation. You don't owe your stepmom anything. You don't call her on Mother's Day, that's her fault. Why do you not want to call her to wish her a happy Mother's Day? It's something that she's done. Your dad is disappointed in you. Tell him that you were so disappointed in the fact that you allow his wife to treat you like this for your entire fucking life. Tell him that you're disappointed that he can't be a man, stand up on his own two motherfucking feet and come to the defense of his child. And tell your mom that you called to talk about it and not to get advice, because her advice is not something that we want to fucking listen to. You should have stayed and listened to these people talk about you in the worst ways to keep the peace. Why am I worried about keeping the peace with people who all think I'm such a terrible, independent, not active in the family person? Why would I give a fuck about the peace being kept within these trash ass people? Your mom needs to just sit down and be a listening ear. We need her to lock her lips and just listen.
My 20 female girlfriend, 21 female, is likely being kicked out of our university soon. She wants to know our relationship will be okay, and I do not know what to tell her.
Okay.
Hello, Reddit. I am facing a dilemma with my girlfriend, quote unquote, Sarah, of approximately 18 months and would very much appreciate any advice you can give. To begin with, she and I met last year, our freshman year at university. Of course, it was a time for chasing new things and meeting new people, and we met at orientation and fell for each other very hard. Sarah has many, many great qualities. She's beautiful and lovely. She's very kind and attentive to me, and I do love her dearly. I have been happy with her for the time we have been together. One problem we have had is that I feel like I am noticeably more dedicated to my academics than she is. I have maintained a high GPA and work hard for my grades and have not missed a class in the 3 semesters I have been here. Sarah is a little more interested in the social aspects of college. She tends to go out many nights of the week for drinks or to party, and it's gotten a bit worse since turning 21. She has a habit of sleeping in the morning and missing class. It's common for her to stay in my dorm overnight, and I will frequently leave her in the morning just to come back from class a few hours later to find her still sleeping in my bed. I am not someone who will hover over her and nag her to go to class, so I try waking her up, but when she says she will handle herself, I leave her to it. Unfortunately, Sarah's grades have not been great. She was put onto academic probation after the spring 24 semester, and was informed that she has until the end of the current semester to raise her GPA to an acceptable level or she will be dismissed from university.
Good, okay.
Sarah did try at the beginning of this semester and she had a strong start. She was going to class, working on assignments, but of course I did what I could to help her. But her old habits began returning and her grades are suffering again. Over the last few weeks before leaving for fall break, she seemed to be getting frantic. She was constantly asking me to help her with assignments. I've been doing my best, but she wasn't really meeting standard and there was only so much I could do for her. Just before we left for break, I had to sit down and tried to kindly tell her that it might be time to consider what she was going to do if she cannot return to university after winter. I think reality began setting in for her at that point. She cried on my shoulder and I was going to comfort her, and she began asking me what was going to happen with us. I tried to tell her that for right now, maybe she should focus on making a plan for herself and we can go from there, which I did mean sincerely. She practically begged me to tell her that we would still be together, and at that time I reassured her that I did not intend to break up. Over break, she has been texting me some vague plans about getting a job in the same city as our university. She's been talking a bit about staying some nights at my dorm and maybe getting an off-campus apartment together at some point. She is again asking me to promise her that we will stay together even if she is expelled. But honestly, while I do love her, I'm having some doubts. I know she is having a hard time and I'm not trying to pile it on her, but to an extent, I am angry at her. I did every reasonable thing I could to help her pass, and I feel like she didn't do everything she could to remain in college. I don't want to say it is her fault, but she didn't get sick or experience a tragedy. She partied and didn't go to class, and it annoys me that she is expecting me to accommodate the change to her life now.
Is getting sick and not having someone die the only reasons? I know I'm nitpicking there because I'm in the middle still right now, but okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm coming at this from a point of like they're both very young.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And while I feel like a total snob, to some extent, I feel I am advancing in my life, and I don't know if I really want to commit to someone who is not doing that for right now. I still love her and want her to succeed, but it seems like she will be stuck for a bit, and I don't want to be. Has anyone experienced something like this? Were you able to navigate it? Are Sarah and I doomed? Too long didn't read. My girlfriend is likely being expelled from university and is asking me to reassure her that we will stay together. I don't know if I can promise her that anymore. What should I do?